Hey guys, I'm Nick. I just spent the last probably 2 hours installing this Garmin SV7SV on this 2020 Old Town Predator PDL. I'm gonna keep my arm right here looking real ridiculous because the 3D part that we printed as a prototype number 4. Okay, it's hidden back here. I don't want anybody to see it yet. All right, but this is how I mounted it. Okay, so I'm gonna cut forward here in a second. I'm gonna show you how we did the transducer. Everything on here was cheap, do-it-yourself, simple as possible, stuff I had at the house, with the exception of one Hobie 3-way through-haul kit. This is where I like the fish finder to be mounted. I like to be able to touch it. The wires go right in here, nice and easy. I wanted to make sure that this rod holder on the 2020 was still perfectly usable, and the most important part, the cup holder functioned as it was supposed to. In years past, I actually covered it up, pain in the butt, but I wanted it to be close to me. So after fishing from this kayak for the last 4 years, I found a solution, and I decided to design it up myself in the back room. I am not an engineer, so it's been a learning curve, but it worked. Okay, needs some final touches, some aesthetics, all that good stuff, but perfectly functional, right where I wanted it, close to me. That way I can look at my LCD TV. Someone said it's an LCD TV. All right, so yeah, it's pretty big, okay? It's right there where I want it. I want to be able to see it. I want to be able to use it. There's no reason to spend this much money on a unit and then not have the ability to reach it. So right here where I can change stuff, zoom in, switch modes, do what I got to do, perfection. So I'm going to cut out of here. I'll cut to the transducer. I'll cut to that hole down there. I'm not going to show you this. This is simple, okay? I'll show you some of the parts that come with it, like this piece right here. You need to mount it to a ram mount. Simple stuff. You may or may not have those mounts at the house. Easily sourced on YouTube, easily sourced on Amazon or at your local tackle shop for the most part. That's it, man. I'm gonna give you guys a quick overview how I did it. I'll show you in the video. It's gonna be a few cuts here and there. Try to film the whole thing, but I didn't think it was that good. So I'm just gonna give you a quick walkthrough of how I did it. Here we go. Hey guys, I'm Nick. Last night I did an unboxing of this Garmin 7SV. Obviously, I was familiar with the unit. I've used it before. I'm going to show you how I'm going to install it on a 2020 Old Town Predator PDL, the cheap and easiest way possible. Okay, this is actually the same way I installed it in 2016. I made a video a long time ago about it. I'm going to do a few things different this time, and I'll show you and tell you why. Let's get rid of this box real quick. All right, so the first thing that I'm going to install, obviously the kayak's upside down, is that transducer. Now, Old Town put this mount right here for the transducer, and that's awesome, okay? I could care less about the mount. I wanted the area. I needed the surface area to put a larger transducer in there. Now, Garmin's made this transducer a lot smaller than it used to be. This is a GT52. I'm telling you, it used to be like this long. It was crazy. The first time I mounted it on a kayak, period, I guess it was probably 2015. I mounted it on a 2015 Pro Angler. Then I mounted it on a 2016 Outback, and then I mounted it on a 2017 PDL. So I've mounted it a bunch of different places. The easiest method that I have found on the Old Town is duct tape. Yeah, that's right, duct tape. Now you could do a bunch of crazy things, build brackets, bend some things. I've done that in the past too. It's not as effective. It's way more work. So all you need is some 3/4 inch 40 schedule 40 PVC, a hacksaw. I used a grinder to cut a notch out of there so that this screw would screw right through here. Okay, so you use the mount that comes with the fish finder instead of using the adapter that goes to here. You just cut a notch out of the PVC. You run the bolt through. You tighten it down. Make sure you leave it a little flat side right here. That way it'll stop it, and it has to stay at a 90-degree angle. It can't move. That's important. Makes a big difference. Now, the reason I use 3/4 inch is because I don't want it to be too thick for that hole. The first time I did this, I used a pool noodle as a compression, to make the opening, to fill the opening. But the first problem I ran into, and it was super quick, was the pool noodle isn't going to re-expand. It's just going to contract, it's going to compress, and then it's not going to, doesn't have anything to reopen, all right? It's going to wear out over time. About 2 weeks into using the pool noodle, it actually fell out at the bottom of the kayak. Now, I was in a hurry, I was in a bind, and I was like, man, I can make it work. I got some duct tape. I wrapped duct tape around the PVC and I slammed it in that hole as a temporary solution. 9 months later, it still hadn't moved. So duct tape is obviously an amazing thing. Obviously, this is super cheap. You probably have some PVC and some duct tape in the garage, so it's easy. All you do is get it to the right thickness. It's like a shim, okay? But you don't want to just put a whole bunch on there. One layer at a time. Put the electronic line on the outside. It's important. That will actually allow water to run through the side and drain so that doesn't fill with water. So all you do is set it in the hole like so. Don't just push it down there. It won't work. You got to get that duct tape started. And then you just kind of wiggle it into position. Now you're going to notice it goes in. Now you can straighten it out, level it out, get it where you want it. You can't pull it. I just picked up the whole entire kayak, okay? It's not going to come out. Once you push it in there, it's good to go. So add shims, layers of duct tape until you're happy. Hit it into place. As you can see, it's perfectly flat. It's perfectly level. And I'm serious. I'm going to leave like that all year. Now, someone's going to say, Nick, your transducer's backwards. No, it's not. All right, you can go into your settings on the fish finder, and you can change left to right. You can actually change the orientation of which direction it is facing. It's an awesome feature on the fish finder. So, super easy solution. Doesn't matter which direction it faces. That's it. That's a transducer. There's nothing to it. It's cheap and super effective. Now, I'm going to flip this thing over, and I'm going to show you how I install the face mount, where I run the transducer line. Obviously, the line's already through that hole. I'll show you how I run it through the kayak, where I place everything, and that's it. I know a lot of you guys, your biggest concern is the transducer, so you're probably going to quit watching right about now. But if you're going to keep watching, turn the camera off, flip everything over, and show you how I do it. All right, guys, the first time I installed a fish finder on a PDL, I drilled a hole right here and I ran the wire through there just to make it look as clean as possible and as nice. You can do that if you want to. The last 2 years I haven't. Reason being is this wire comes up through here. This lid is designed to just conform around whatever goes in there. So over time, this will actually bend, get used to me. I just put it in there so it's not, hasn't formed any memory. And it will actually get used to just sitting like that. It'll go in there, no big deal. One less hole to drill, save you some time. You can still put a Hobie through-hole kit right here if you want to. I'm not going to because it's not needed. Now, I know people are like, oh, you're just cutting a corner. I am. I also spend more time in this kayak than probably anyone. It's not in the way. It's not going to affect anything. And it's going to save you a few bucks and a little bit of time. Obviously, I get a new kayak every 6 to 9 months. There's no reason for me to spend my life customizing this thing to absolute perfection. If you want to, go ahead. Have at it. Once this transducer wire is in here, we're just going to close this up and leave it be. We're going to shift some stuff around, move back here, and I will show you where I actually run the wires out of the kayak. I don't like anything coming down here. I know some guys will run the wires through here and down through here and underneath here. I'm not a big fan of that. I want it to be all inside and just magically appear next to the seat. We get the kayak moved, get the camera moved, and I'll show you that as I do it. All right, guys, so we're going to use this Hobie through kit. This is the 3-way. It's one of the newest one they made, not the twist lock. Just take some screws. There's some directions in here. It's going to tell you what size hole saw bit to use. It's an 1 3/8 hole saw bit. What you can do with that bit is you're going to drill a hole right here. Now, when you're doing this, make sure you proper technique. Make sure you have an idea where it's going to go before you drill the hole. Make sure you know that there's room to put the screws in. It's very, very important. These little grooves, you can see them, those will all actually go inside the kayak. This gasket comes around there and it will seal the kayak so you don't have any leaks. You'll use these depending on how many wires you have to get everything situated to perfection. But super easy. But before you drill a hole in the kayak, make sure you pay attention to what you're doing and ensure you have enough room. Obviously, I used the same system on last year's PDL, so there's plenty of room. You could do it here. You could do it anywhere you want to do it. I'm going to do it right here in this area. It's a good area for what I want to do. So Keep that stuff in mind before you drill yours. Look it over. And before you just go drilling holes in the kayak, make sure you spend some time in it. I know from experience, I want my fish finder to be mounted right here. Maybe you want it to be mounted up there. This is how I'm going to do it. I'm going to drill a hole, and I'll get back to showing you guys how this works here in a second. All right, guys. I drilled the hole. I actually didn't have an 1 3/8 drill bit either, so I used a 1/8 drill bit, and I used my Dremel just to clean it up so it would fit. Ideally, it fits right. It does. So the next thing you're going to do is you're going to take this. The groove should face out. Just run these guys through here like so. This is going to mount here. Nothing special to it. Now, the next step. You got this thing. Now, we only have 2 cords, so we're going to take one of these. We're just going to fill it in. Doesn't matter which one. You could do it so the H faces up and looks all pretty. Doesn't make a difference, okay? So we'll just do it like this. Now you're going to find out which one of these grommets fits this the best. So probably going to need this big one and the second to biggest one. This wire's pretty large. We'll go behind this little cord thing. See, it's actually too big, so let's see here. We'll go with these 2. This one will fit in there. Look, it fits good. That's what you want. That's what's going to stop you from having any kind of leaks right there if the kayak flips over or fills with water for some reason, which it shouldn't. This one will go on there like so. Nothing to it. Make sure that gasket is behind them, all right? You'll be able to adjust it once you install it. It's not too hard or anything. Now what you do is you'll just slide this into place. I did it backwards. Sometimes you got to use a screwdriver. If it's just too tight, you can't get it to fit. You just slide it into place like so. Nothing to it. Same thing with this side. Just work it right in there. If you don't do it right the first time, it's not. Oh man, my little girl's trying to get into the garage. I don't know why she wants to come out here. It's super hot. Well, you get this all set up like that. Nothing to it. I actually pre-drilled some small holes right here as starting points for the little screws. Once you get everything in, it's going to take some fumbling with. Obviously, it's hard to do, talk and record all this stuff. So, get it lined up. You'll see how it works. It's pretty simple. We'll put links to all this stuff in the description. Obviously, here's your screws you want to use. I would figure that the screwdriver's not over here right now. Let's see where I put it. Where I put the screwdriver. The garage is a disaster. This wasn't really the plan for the day, but it's happening. All right. This screwdriver would do the trick since I somehow misplaced the other one. Get it lined up. You know, pre-drilling those holes really help. That way you can just set this in here. You don't need to use any kind of goop, okay? A lot of people want to just marine goop anything. The cool thing about these plastic kayaks is once you screw anything into it, it actually heats up and it actually bonds to the screw. So get that one started it in. Same with this. Just line up nice and slow. You don't need to use any power tools for this stuff. It'll heat up. I'm telling you, it bonds to it. All these guys who just want to marine goop the crap out of these things, all the marine goop does is stop this stuff from getting hot and heating to the plastic. But super simple, nothing to it. Okay, so those are in there. Remember, don't tighten them too tight. You tighten them too tight and it'll just strip out the kayak plastic. You don't want that. That's plenty. All right, so the cool thing about this whole little thing, you can actually pull these out as you need them. You can pull them out, slide it back in there. You know, tons of options. So you don't need to worry about it being the right length yet. Just get it in there, get it so you're comfortable, get it so you're happy where it's at. The next step would be to mount the unit. Now, so there's a bunch of different ways you can do it. Here is my mount from the 7CV. This part right here comes with the fish finder. You'll need to purchase this ram mount from Ram, Yak Attack. I don't know. I've had it for years, man. They got in some kind of fight, so I think they all went their different ways with their patents and stuff. So check that stuff out. You'll figure out which one you need. They're all labeled well. You will need the 7-inch mount. It's important that you keep an eye on that. In years past, I've mounted it right here a number of ways. You can actually take a mighty mount a mighty mount right here, and then you can just screw one of the tracks on there, one of these balls on there. Last year I actually mounted it underneath the seat with this dog bone, so it's set right here like this. There are a ton of options. Some guys like to mount it out there. I don't like it being out there. If you mount it out there on this one, it's actually going to get in the way of this rod holder. So I'm going to mount it right here. But I'm actually working on a special mount for this. It's actually why we have the 3D printer. If you watch the channel or know anything I do with my life, I've been 3D printing a mount that will work with this, that will put the fish finder right where I want it. I'm not going to let you guys see that. I will go out there and I'll film how I put it on that kayak over there. But for right now, just know I'm going to mount it right here in this area. The cup holder will still be perfectly functional, and the fish finder will sit right here next to the seat like so, and I'll be able to do whatever I want to do without blocking the rod holder or the cup holder. The cup holder is super important, okay? Might be the most important thing on the kayak. So that's it. Really nothing to it. Transducer, super simple. Obviously did it with duct tape and PVC. This part, I don't know. It's made by Hobie, so who knows how much it costs. I actually bought some of them last year, so they've been sitting in a drawer. You're looking at probably 20 bucks for that piece. Wilderness Systems makes a system as well that does that. You can buy some other ones. I prefer to use the Hobie kit. It is the best, in my opinion. I've been using it since I started kayak fishing. It has never let me down. It doesn't leak. It never breaks. And it's good to go. I think that's it, man. That's the majority of it. Nothing to it. Like, someone asked some questions about doing a tutorial on how to use a fish finder, and I actually planned on doing something about Active Captain. I might do something in, trying to show you how it reads out, what you're getting on your, on the sonar, what it means, whatever you see, what does it mean. But I don't know if I'll have time. It might be hard to film that on the water, but I'll give it a shot, man. I'll see if I can make it happen. If you guys have any questions about the transducer mount, or you have any questions about why these wires are ran the way they are, obviously this wire will go out towards the front, and I will use the battery pack that's in the front to power up my Aqua battery. Maybe I'll do a little video about that in the future too. I just wanted to let you guys see how cheap and effective it can be. Obviously, a lot of times mounting the fish finder is expensive, but if you can mount that transducer with PVC and duct tape, well, you just save yourself a ton of money. There are some mounts out there for the scupper holes, and they want $100. I think one of them was like $99. That's ridiculous. It's a piece of plastic. Come on. This stuff is going to be a little costly. Yak Attack RAM. They're a little pricey on this stuff. Understandable though. Yak Attack's not a huge company. They're not putting out huge production runs of this stuff. The kayak market is pretty niche, so they're not trying to sell it to all of America. They're trying to sell it to a very small percentile of folks. Keep that stuff in mind. That's why that price point exists. If you have any questions, though, feel free to shoot me an email at nick@navarrekayakfishing.com. I'm going to finish this up. I will show you a few little walkthroughs. I'm not going to show you how to mount that fish finder, though. I can't show you yet, okay? I'll show you in the future the prototype. We're on prototype number 4, actually. So it actually works. It's functional. It just needs some more design stuff, like more aesthetics to make it look prettier. But it's functional. I will be using it. I'm actually going to put it on there right now. You're just not going to see it, all right? Any questions, though, just feel free to comment. Let me know, and we will go from there. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I hope you, wow, what am I supposed to say now? I'm supposed to say, I look forward to you booking your next adventure. I don't know, it's hot. I've been out here in the garage sweating my butt off. So that's that. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I look forward to you booking your next adventure.